Voice-O-Matic, so if you ever have the need to like record yourself in the future, yeah, you can use this as an option. So yeah, this is my GitHub repository, and right now I'm gonna look and see if I have my past TwitterBot demo repository, which I do. It's right here. That's great. Now I'm gonna also look and see if I have the actual. Okay, I do. So for your Heroku app, there's 3 things you need in regards to TwitterBot and pretty much anything else. But right now, let's have the focus of TwitterBot. These 3 things are your proc file, which is a way of kind of communicating with Heroku. Okay, how should I run this this Python file, right? The file you're working with, and then a requirements.txt file. The requirements.txt file is just basically, let me open this up, all the necessary modules you need related to that app. So since I was working with TweetPy like 4 weeks ago, or I don't even remember, 3 weeks ago, I only needed TweetPy equals 3.6.0, and then if I also needed with TweetPy Python 3.6.3, I think we're in right now, then I should have probably also put it in there. So you get the idea of what the requirements.txt is. And then yeah, I'm gonna open up the proc file. Actually, yeah, I was gonna do that pretty soon. I was just kind of like giving the overall like gist of what you would need for Heroku. And then this isn't opening up with Sublime. Okay, and your proc file, and keep in mind your proc file doesn't have a dot whatever. It's just a file. So the proc file with capital P is kind of like a command for Heroku translating or communicating to it, saying, how am I going to run this app? So I'm running it as a worker because it's going to continuously work and as a bot, right? And it's going to keep on processing how many times you wanted to based on how you designated it. If you did the Heroku portion of TwitterBot, some people have put the app on sleep for like a week and made it run weekly. So that's what this worker does. And then there's the other option of a web, etc. All that will be worked with. That's a way of saying to Heroku, this is going to be a web app, and you're gonna keep this web app running on the Heroku website, right? And then I put a bunch of whatever because we don't need to focus about the proc file. I am aware that there are cases where it can auto-generate. I believe that can only be done through Heroku CLI, the command line interface, the Heroku command line interface. It can be done through that. I have not tested that. So for just for safety, I created my own proc file. I'm like, cool, but that is possible. I just haven't tested it out. So this is the worker. Excuse me. This is us saying that this app will be a worker. The language we're working with, and that's Python, and then the file that we would want this Heroku to capture, and then the app to run. So that's the proc file right there. So recapping, the 3 required items you would need are your app, the requirements.txt file, and then the proc file. And then I just didn't explain what Heroku was, but I probably should just in case. Yeah. It's not a text file, it's a file that you establish the basis of communication of how am I going to run this app and what is this app. So as I showed, I ran it as a worker because I established, yeah, yeah. So the way I create these files, or particularly this proc file, is right here. And then say, open a text file like this. You open it up, and then you will say worker Python, and then what I call my Twitter bot.py. Now I'm gonna save as, and I'm gonna save as a proc file, right? But I'm gonna make sure not save as type .txt. I just want to save it as a file, and that's just established as a means of working with Heroku and the requirements that you need to run your app. As to why that's the reason, why can't I do a procfile.txt? I don't know. Okay. So that's what you would do right here. Okay, and then the requirements.txt file, that can be saved as a .text file. Okay, and then your Twitter bot, that's your Python bot, right? Cool. Oh yeah, so Heroku is just, from what I understand, it's a web app hosting service that is provided by not provided. It's provided by Heroku, but Salesforce owns it. They required Heroku. I have no idea how long ago. But that's the gist of Heroku. It's a web app hosting service. Okay, cool. So I got that. Great. And so let me open up the Twitter bot file, or hopefully that's it. Okay. Hey. Okay, cool. Okay. So I'm gonna find this Twitter bot file. Okay, cool. So in this time, okay. So this is the Twitter bot file. I have no idea what was in here. Oh, okay, that's scratch work. Okay, my bad. So as you remember, working with TweetPy, these were everything utilized to run your Twitter bot. You imported OS, TweetPy, etc. Right here, this is provided. Yeah, the key that was provided by, I forgot who, but you can either manually enter in the key you wanted to enter, or you can work with hiding your key and saving in a file. And then right here what I have is, it was provided by Kevin in the resources channel like 4 weeks ago. You can import OS, and then from your os.get environment, consumer key, consumer secret, access key, access secret. This definitely works both in CL, the command line interface for Heroku, and also when you import your repository from GitHub to Heroku. So I'm going to leave this here. Cool. And then I'll show you where you would store the keys and secrets. Okay, so everything's good here. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, cool. So now, oh man, give me a sec. So I'm gonna go to Bash. Wait, I think I already had Bash open. Format CV documents. I'm just gonna make sure for my TwitterBot demo folder where all those files are contained in. One, I have a Git repository, and two, I want to make sure that the updates I just made right now are going to reflect that in the repository. CD, oh shit. And then I'm going to go a little bit quicker because I'm looking at the time and I'm like, oh no. But do any of you have questions while I check this out? Okay, no, cool. Yeah, git add all and git. You didn't see that. Git. Are you sure? No one has questions? No? Okay. I think you're all more interested in the Flask material coming on Wednesday, right? Yeah, bro. Okay. So I'm gonna make sure this is okay. Cool. Git push origin master. And then this is right here, git push origin master. Right now you see that is the typical line you would put to push to your GitHub repository, right? Hopefully if I have a little bit of time later on, you'll see git push Heroku master. And with the pushes between GitHub and Heroku, they're in parallel, basically the same, and that's when you work with Heroku toolbot. So I just want to keep that in mind for the future. So that push was made, and let me check this out. Oh, it was a month ago. Okay, so in this repository, we made our updates. We're like, okay, good, we're good to go. Now we want to run our Heroku app. Let me see which one this is connected to. Git remote-v. Okay, so I did git remote-v to see what repository in Heroku did I save this to. You can ignore this for now. This would be for the alternative Git CLI topic I keep on mentioning. But I just want to make sure I had that, and I want to know what Heroku repository I'm referencing to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look at my personal apps, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So I was like, oh shoot, like which one did I go to? I'm going here, and then coming down in the deploy section, I have several options. Here's Heroku Git. If you want to use Heroku Git, which I obviously don't have enough time to explain since we have 5 minutes left, there are great instructions, just like GitHub provides, where it shows you like, here's how to work with Heroku and your local machine. So right here, usually what we're doing right now is on our local machine, we're pushing everything to our repository in GitHub, and then going into and then connecting Heroku with GitHub to run the app, right? Well, why just cut the middleman and go from your local and then push to Heroku and then just run that. So those are, in overview, the two differences. Right now I'm doing the middleman connection or establishment, and then the second part I keep on mentioning is just a straight up pushing your changes to Heroku. Cool. Now to connect to GitHub, let me just connect. Okay. So the deployment method, you just click connect to GitHub, and because I'm connected, I don't get this pop-up saying, oh, enter in your password, enter in your username related to GitHub. I've already done that. So this is what you would see. And then once that's established, you have the right password, you can then search which repository you want to connect to. I have 3. I've worked with a couple of other groups, but this is my repository. and then I want to select which repository was it again? A Twitter bot demo repository. So I'm going to type in Twitter bot. I'm going to search, and then when I click that search button, oh, you guys can see me. I didn't know that. Anyways, when I click that search button, I can see, hey, our repository is there, and I can connect to it. And then once it's connected, a list of other options will appear. Automatic deployment as you read the instructions. So once you make changes in your GitHub repository, and those changes are made, and they are reflected in GitHub. Once this is enabled, Heroku recognize from your repository that changes are made. I will therefore run the app, this app again. So, yeah. Yeah, so for the first one, in my experience, you usually have to click this and then click manual deploy. Or first and then that. The order of operation shouldn't matter. I click this and then that because that's kind of my process. I haven't used this in production, by the way. This is all personal projects, right? Okay, so I click enable automatic deployments. So now every time I make an update or a change to GitHub, the app will run again. And then right now, I would select deploy branch, but remember that I resetted my consumer secret and consumer keys, like I mentioned at the very beginning. Let's see if remember how I get there. Was it apps.twitter or developer.twitter? Yeah, I think it was developer.twitter. Yeah, so there I can find my consumer secret, access secret, etc. Up here? I think I'm on here. I think it was app. Okay, that better. I think that's fine. Okay, cool. Keys and access. Cool. And so let's go back to my Sublime. Remember I had these items right here. os.get environment, consumer key, consumer secret, etc. I will use my consumer key, my keys and secrets, and input them somewhere within Heroku. I'm trying to remember where. And I think it was access. No, was it? No. If someone can refresh my memory, that'd be helpful. You can for this app, you can save the secrets and yeah, that's probably it. Yeah. So I would have to set that up accordingly. So for example, underscores. Okay, cool. My consumer secret, that value will be this long string right here, and that would save this value with respect. Will save this variable, the config variable, with respect to my app, right? And then this consumer secret will be recognized in the app because of os.getEnvironment and then consumer secret. So that will be recognized, and that value will be saved right here, and then the app will run without any issues. Does anyone have any questions now? And then I would like to manually deploy the app, but that's just pretty much it at that point. once you manually deploy the app, you'd expect the same results like you'd seen in TwitterBot, right? You'd see a tweet pop up. Does anyone need to see that, or do you have the gist of where I was going through in this process? Okay, does anyone have any questions related to Heroku or any of the processes? Yeah.
When you need to like keep track of information like over more than one day, like so like a list of like things you've already retweeted, is there a good way to like have a file that keeps it in? Because I know the Heroku app like refreshes once every 24 hours and it loses like the list I compiled of like tweets that I had already retweeted.
Yeah, so I would recommend going through TweetPy and saving that information, maybe, oh shoot, exporting it, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It has permission to like post to your GitHub, just like a text file full of like the sale targets.
That's a good question.
Like some like more web-based version of it.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't came to the idea of that. Mainly, I've used Heroku for fun as a bot.
When I was using
Yeah,
running the app for my homework, like
yeah,
every morning, like 15 midnight, like 5 a.m. or something. It would
yeah,
like 3 or 4 of those.
yeah. Yeah, I remember you had images, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had charts coming and output from your bot.
Even over like a couple days
I can get back to you on that. So far, doing a quick Google search since I don't know that information. I found a couple material. Hopefully this is helpful. The keywords I used are right here. That's just one go, right? I would still have to look for that information. But yeah, any other questions? Okay, cool. Now the last question is, does anyone need to, or does anybody want to understand Heroku CLI for Wednesday? I can also try doing that as well. But the main objective for Wednesday before class would be Flask. So does anyone need to need or want to know Heroku CLI command line interface? No, they're both two ways. You can. This is the mailman approach. It'll take like a little bit longer, but it's kind of like whatever. Like it's optional. It's optional. Yeah. So I'm assuming no. Okay, cool. I will be ready and